Out of 9 NDE reports I have taken from the official archive, 7 are about God. Is there a pattern? Hi, welcome to 404 Reality Not Found. I am the Lost Wanderer, your host in search of the only truth that matters. Where is this place? Are we what we believe we are? Everyone who's seriously digging into the discovery of reality has looked into the NDEs, David Icke and Howdie Mickosky to mention two. Sadly, I didn't have a chance to clarify that with the emissary, but it left me with some breadcrumbs leading towards the famous trap, as both the freedom fighters, truth seekers mentioned above, talk about in their books. If you don't know what the emissary is, well, it defined itself as the Emissary of Lucifer, or the architect of this reality. You can download 20-page free sample of the conversation that occurred earlier this year at realitynotfound.com. So, the NDEs. This video is in the same playlist, but if you want to watch them first, they are on average 3.5 minutes long each. Just click above first, and then you'll either find this video at the end, or you can come back here at any time. Also, if you don't want to miss another episode, then you already know what to do. Before I talk about the NDEs from the NDE archives from which I have taken the experiences, let's address the most important detail. The people who tell the story haven't died from their experience. They just didn't. They weren't dead. None of them really died, okay? The clinical death that we hear about is a recoverable state which only lasts up to a few minutes, and it involves the heart not pumping blood for a limited time, which can be reversible given the appropriate conditions and care. So, the term near-death experience is literally correct, near. This means that they were something else. The mainstream science take is that the NDEs are brain-based experiences that arise around cardiac arrest, not after irreversible death. Based on the so-called science, there is brain activity during these experiences, so they are far from being dead for real. If that was even just clinical death, we would not have the Georgia Adonias experience, linked to the video here, who stayed dead for 3 days and woke up only when they started his autopsy. He even has his own video about his experience, and of course, we must believe the claim is true. Said so, but we don't know. So I won't try to give a scientific explanation to something that I don't know, above all because I don't even know if science is exact purposely or not. To me, this can be 3 things. They are simply in a state of dreaming or similar. Hypnagogic state is my best guess. They are indeed leaving the body, and that's what doesn't even require brain activity, provided that the brain is not part of ourself, which I doubt it is, if all the speculations I made are right so far. Because that's what means being outside of this reality, in the real reality, perhaps. The most interesting possibility that comes to my mind is that they are transitioning into a different reality/simulation, or at least some kind of interference between realities, as based on what we claim to know, including the emissary's information, there are multiple simulations running all together. Considering that the sheer amount of experiences reported involves God or Jesus, or some religious-like figure, I'm inclined to exclude the third option, at least for those, and be more on some sort of option 1 situation where they are dreaming it, and the dream is heavily influenced by their culture or our culture. Of course, we assume that all these NDEs led to the same place, which is probably not the case. However, just because I don't believe there is a God or Jesus or any religious figure, I cannot exclude the possibility that those were actually real experiences of heaven. But to me, the likelihood that the content of the Bible is not a lie is extremely low, until someone brings me tangible proofs, which has not happened yet. If we stick to what David Icke believes to be true, this place is a high technology place, which I don't exclude. Actually, I find it more understandable than other things. But that doesn't mean technology as we understand it. It could be something totally different, who knows? If so, always based on what he believes, frequency bands are very important, but again, are frequencies the same as we know? Is frequency the true key to reality, perhaps? The true common element in every possible scenario, even the real reality? If so, all these people could have been shifted into a different band and seen other simulations. At this point, even heaven is another simulation. If our consciousness is trapped into a digital storage instead, where we are not even real and believed to be, like in many episodes of Black Mirror, could heaven be just a backup temporary section of the storage where we are parked waiting to be redeployed? How long do we stay there? If I remember correctly, but don't quote me on that, Howdie Mickosky says that the so-called heaven is the place where we stay during the memory wipe, and it can be long and painful before we are sent back to another reality. Now, once again, there is nothing clear. The only clear thing is that we don't know, and the only tools for us to know are the very things that I question to be real. So my take is still hypnagogic state, heavily influenced by our past experiences and beliefs. What's yours? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching this far, stay critical, and I'll see you in the future that doesn't exist.